What you give is what you have. In this life, you are entitled to receive to the measure of your contribution. Be it ministry, be it business. The level of impact you make is what determines your return. People respond to you based on your impact. So life is programmed in such a way that the level of your input is what will determine the level of your output. There are many people today who are not imputing anything to life, anything to their world, and they are hoping that one day an angel will appear in their room and throw a bag of money. That is scam. You come to certain places, they exaggerate testimonies to make people lazy. Don't be part of that generation. Thank God for miracle money. Thank God for miracle, whatever it's called. But go and check how many people have it. In a church of 10,000 people, 10 people, 5 people have a miracle. And you want to live your life on that economy. That an angel gave somebody money is a fact that is possible. But we were not created to receive money from angels. There's a law of sowing and reaping. If you don't sow, you can't reap. Jesus himself said, the measure with which you give is the measure with which you'll be given. The measure with which you met out is the measure that will be met unto you. So any word where you find yourself, you must pay the price to increase value. Because people respond to you based on the value you give. It's not about shouting. It's beyond shouting. When you talk to people, how does it impact their world? It's the extent to which you impact their world that will make them impact your own world. People are not just favored. I know we teach favor, but we exaggerate things. Somebody will wake up and tell you, if favor rubs off on you, every day of your life, you'll be receiving. Go and find out the person who is receiving every day of his life, how many thousand people he's impacting. Somebody tells you, I am favored every day, somebody dash me something. Find out how many million people he's impacting. If you have no impact, the favor may be running like a river. It's only your family members that will see it. Make no mistakes about it. Things are taken out of context. Things are exaggerated. One person receives a car by favor, and then the car becomes the doctrine of the church for 1 year. Every service, the car. We thank God for the car. We testify to stir the faith of others. But we know this thing is beyond the miracle. Because the moment they enter the promised land, the manna stops flowing. You've got to make up your mind and tell yourself, I must make positive impact. You are in the academia. What is your impact there? What you receive there will be commensurate to your impact. You are in the business world. What are you producing? You are producing nothing. You are adding nothing. You are loafing around. And you are hoping that because you speak in tongues, God will just lift you up. If he's lifting everybody up like that, who will be the farmer? Who will be the trader? Who will do the hard work? There is a place of favor. There is a place of the blessing. But there are underlying laws that makes for these things to happen. You reap what you sow. You receive to the degree of your impact. That's the significance of that law. If you have no impact, your life will be an average life. Take that from me. You may not accept it. When you are 80 years old, you will tell yourself the truth. Don't lazy around. You hear that this prophet, everybody is sowing to him. They gave him a car. Go and find out what he has done that he has not said. You see this businessman, they tell you, even while he's sleeping, he's making money. And then motivational speakers will come and put one kiosk. And say, even if you start with one kiosk, you will make it. It takes a lot of hard work underneath. It takes a lot of investment underneath. Nothing happens by chance. We have too many lazy believers. I was sharing with one sister recently. Most sisters don't want to marry brothers anymore. Because when they show up, all they have to show is tongues. An angel appeared to me yesterday when I was on the 70 days fast. Thank God for your 70 days fast. But life is beyond the 70 days fast. The Lord told me you are my wife. What are you doing? And then you find a sister who is doing well in business, suddenly marries a fasting machine. And when the lady marries him, that fasting that he's talking about bogusly, he will not talk again. Every day he comes to his wife's shop and say, the work of the Lord, the king's business requires haste. I'm the husband in this union. This is what God said. Do this. You are a scam. You are a thief. Why do you think many young ladies are not married? Because all our brothers only have tongues. When you finish speaking that your tongue, what impact do you have? You marry these ladies and you swindle them of all their monies. A lady that was doing well, you meet her after 2 years of marriage, she becomes a shadow of herself. Because the husband have run down the whole shop. And the same apply to some sisters. They wake up with makeup, their skin is glowing like electric bulb, and that's all they have. Brain empty, no commitment to anything. Some can't even cook. They lie down from morning till night. They're on WhatsApp and Facebook, snapping for Instagram. If I was to be a politician, by now, maybe I would have been working with the president. The kind of initiative I would have put together. This period that the world is going through turbulence, I would have had NGOs. By now, I would have coordinated youth across the country. If I talk, it's gospel that have shut me down. I sat down, I listened to Obama for 2 years. Every speech he has on YouTube. I listened to Winston Churchill. I listened to Flo Lumumba. World-renowned orators and influencers. If I was in business, I would have gone to serve Cosmos Maduka for free. Because I must contact something. I'm not here to receive bread. I want to make bread. I'm not here to receive fish. I want to catch. Because you are relevant to the degree of your impact. Don't lazy around and you speaking in tongues to cover up. What do you know? What can you offer to your generation? The law of sowing and reaping will insist that you go nowhere. Because when something wants to happen to you, that law will check and balance. Because if it doesn't happen, you will be robbing your generation. Who told you you just speak in tongues and they will give you seed of 1 million? Who told you that? You were deceived. Anything you want to receive consistently that you don't have input on ground that is commensurate to, the law will rise up against you and say, if you give this guy this thing consistently, you will create an imbalance in nature. It will not happen. And so a man who wants to walk consistently in a dimension must consistently begin to sow. That's why he said, give a portion to 7, give a portion to 8. You know not the evil that will come upon the earth. In the morning sow thy seed, in the evening withhold not thy hand. Sowing is a law because it controls what you reap. In Genesis chapter 8 verse 20 to 22, when the new world was created, God was speaking to Noah. He says, seed time and harvest, sowing and reaping, cold and heat, summer and winter shall not cease. These are laws. When you see things happening to people, don't just say God is kind towards that person, so God is harsh to you and you are still alive. God is kind to everyone that calls upon his name. People are functioning at the level of their impact. And if you want to go higher, you've got to begin to sow and make input to your world. These things are not taught believers. We come, we pick one testimony, we exaggerate it, and we enslave 100,000 people. The second law of dominion is the law of consistency. In Luke chapter 18 from verse 1 to 5, when Jesus was teaching on prayer, he said men ought always to pray and not to faint. And he gave an instance of a woman, a poor widow, who had no advantage. And then he also spoke about a wicked king that neither feared God nor man. He said, but day and night, this widow troubled this wicked king. And he said, in order for the king to have peace, he went and solved her problem. And he said, if this unjust king will do this, how much more? That means this cruel man that has no regard for God, because he was consistently buffeted, he had no choice. That means there is an energy that consistency generates. When a man is doing something consistently, he's generating a particular kind of energy in the spirit. It's not a joke. The reason many people don't make impact is that they are too quick to give up. So when you come into their lives, every day they are trying something new. They try A, they try B, they try C. Even the people of the world know things don't work like that. They call them jack of all trade, master of none. Is there anything you have done in your life for 10 years? Is there anything you have done in your life for 15 years? There is no way that thing will not produce result. Because when you become consistent, you knock on a gate in the spirit. There are spirits that respond to consistent people, whether in light or in darkness. We don't have capacity and resilience. That's why many times we don't make impact. The guy starts doing it when it's about to transit. He gets tired, he goes and he starts something new. They are always being innovative, but they are never completing anything they start. That's why they never make true impact. Every man making impact in this world today is a consistent person. And you want to find the character of a great man, don't look at his demeanor. Find out his stamina and tenacity on the things he lays his hand to do. It's like growth. No matter how many times you jump, you will come down. But if you grow, you remain. That's how consistency works. You may be doing it one at a time, but if you don't give up, a day will come, you become a master. It was Bruce Lee that said something. He said, I'm more afraid of a man who can punch once in 1,000 days than a man who can punch 1,000 times in one day. There are many people, if they come to pray today, they can pray for 15 hours. All their clothes will be wet. You look at them and say, Jesus Christ, what manner of grace is this? The next time they will come to the prayer altar will be in 2 months. But there's another man who prays 30 minutes. But every day, you know that 30 minutes he will plug it in. That man is 1,000 times more powerful than the guy who hit and run. Every person making impact in this kingdom has a signature of consistency. If you don't find consistency in a man's life, no matter how gifted he is, give him time, he will fail. But when you find a man who is consistent, even if he doesn't have any gift, watch out. After many years, you will be shocked what the guy will do. Consistency is a weapon of success and a weapon of preservation. It's good to start new things, but make sure you finish every other old one you were doing. Don't keep starting things and never finishing anyone. You've got to be consistent on things. There are certain people that even in their relationship, every 3 months they start a new relationship. The moment that somebody shout, relationship has ended. You see them, they have a heartbreak. After 1 week of heartbreak, they have started another relationship. They've not even healed from the last one. After 3 months, you see them with a new guy. They say, that last guy, don't mind that idiot. Don't mind him. He's a very unreasonable person. I tried everything to make it work. For how long? 3 months. And the same character manifests in their business. Joseph was interpreting dreams all his life. He interpreted a dream. It provoked jealousy. He kept interpreting. He interpreted another dream. He was in the prison. He kept interpreting. A day came when he interpreted one dream that made him the Lord of Egypt. He would have stopped interpreting dream and said, the last time I interpreted, it gave me problem. He was consistent. When a man is consistent, there is no height he will not scale. We have too many inconsistent people. Some is even visions that kill them. You see this man in January, he has a vision. He tells you, God told me to go to Congo. I'm wasting time here. I'm wasting time here. I'm wasting time. You now encourage him. Okay, if that's what God is saying, why not we take 2 months and pray about it? He said, no, I saw this vision. I was carried to a mountain. Meet that man after 4 months. The man that God told to go to Congo will now tell you, God said we should go and bring down the mantle of Islam in Maiduguri. In 4 years, he has 4 contrasting visions. One is going north, one is going south. So the only way he can fulfill destiny is when you tear him into 4. So the only way he will fulfill destiny is when he dies. He will fulfill it from heaven. Inconsistency have destroyed great visions. Did you not read about great men? What do you know about Bill Gates since you were born? His name is synonymous to Microsoft. They stay on one thing, and as they stay on it, there's no way they will not be celebrated. What do you know about Mother Teresa? She was in a remote village in India, no media there, serving the poor, serving the poor. A day came, the whole world began to celebrate her. She was not raising the dead. She was not doing miracles. She was just there fetching water for the poor. Money comes, she gives to the poor. And she kept at it from her youth until she was an old woman. But a day came, she was celebrated. Did you read about Billy Graham? In the days of Billy Graham was the evolution of the prophetic and the miraculous. The man stayed on salvation, salvation, salvation. His name was included among the 6 people that changed the last century. There's no preacher that is there. In his generation were many miracle workers, many prophets. Some of them traveled around the world. This guy was just preaching salvation. Salvation. There was no miracle. There was nothing spectacular. But he kept at it. And by doing that simple thing, how many... This man is a man of deep revelation. If he starts talking now, you'll be shocked. How many revelation can you get from John 3:16? There is, the whole revelation is there. And even a child of 5 years will see the whole revelation. But somebody preached John 3:16 for 74 years. What was he preaching? He wasn't preaching a message. He was consistent. The consistency was a power in the spirit. And the day came, presidents upon presidents will submit to him. When they come to him, it's not word of knowledge and say, I saw in the spirit, you will win the next election. No word of knowledge. He never prayed for somebody that had headache. But presidents kept coming to him. When he died, where they placed his corpse is where they placed the dead body of American presidents that die in office. No American has that level of honor by preaching salvation. Today we want to kill ourselves in doing many things. There's no consistency. You started last month in selling spare parts. When your friend who went to the US now said, I have a brother in Nigeria who sells spare parts. I want to help him now. When they came back, you are now into electronics. They now say, okay, maybe God is leading him. As they say, okay, let's see what we can do around electronics. Before they finish the research and came back, you are now into tourism. You are taking tourists. You are a tourist guide. That's why they never make impact. I'm telling you, these things happen with Christians. With all the speaking in tongues, with all the gifts of the Spirit, not making impact because of these foundational issues. I don't have time to press. The third law is the law of focus. Matthew 6:24. You cannot serve 2 masters. You can't look up and down at the same time. There are many people who are distracted by attempting to do too many things at the same time. As I'm preaching now, that brother on that camera, I can assure you, he's not hearing 20% of what I'm sharing. His only priority now is to make sure if I go to the left, the camera goes to the left. If I go to the right, the camera goes to the right. That's his job. If he wants to be blessed by this message, he will hear it again. Because if he takes his focus from there and say, my God, this Rema, I will be there. This stage will be empty on the internet. The guy who is doing the live stream now, his focus is to regulate sound. When I start shouting, he will reduce the volume. And when my voice goes down, he will increase the volume. If not, if he now say, my Jesus, he will now stand up and stand like this. God, what is happening here? The people online will be shouting, no volume, no volume, no volume. This is 1 minute distraction will result in chaos on the internet. That's what's happening to most of us, because there's no focus. Too many areas of our lives are suffering. We are too gifted. Our gift becomes our undoing. Jesus had definite focus. In 1 Kings chapter 20 verse 39, the prophet told the king a parable. He said, my Lord gave me a slave to keep. He said, but as I was busy here and there, I lost him. That's how many people lose destiny. They are busy here and there. There's no focus. When you lose focus, you lose value. When you lose value, you lose impact. He said, let your eyes be single. Then your body will be full of light. That means the light you require for your destiny is not a product of owning something on you. It's a product of focus. The moment you start focusing, light begins to grow in your spirit. As a science student, there was something we learned in our days of science in secondary school, SS2, when we started doing optics. There are lenses they call converging lens. They are shaped in a certain way. If you hold a converging lens and set it at the right angle, the converging lens will converge the light of the sun and it will set a black object on fire. The thing will start burning. That means the capacity to set your world on fire is in you. The capacity to blow your world open is in you. The capacity to make the greatest impact in your world is already in you. But the ability to bring that energy into your world will be a product of focus. The more you focus, the more you generate energy. Too many people are distracted. That's why they can't make impact. In John chapter 6 verse 14 and 15, when they saw Jesus working wonders, they said, truly, this is the prophet that should come. Now, see the benevolence of the people towards Jesus. They wanted to catch him and make him a king. And Jesus ran away. I didn't come into the world to be a king. I came into the world for a definite purpose. And in John 18:37, Jesus will reply Pilate, for this reason was I born. For this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. He was so focused that he refused to be distracted by kingship. There are some of us here that God told us, go to Aba and learn how to buy materials and sell. Your friend now came and said, there's a window to the Bahama Island. You say, I've never gone abroad. Oh. This is my only opportunity. It's an opportunity if it is part of your destiny. If it is not part of your destiny, even if it's coronation, it's a distraction. Jesus knew it. That was why even when they wanted to make him a king, is it bad to be a king? No. But it's not part of his curriculum. What is a slipper seller going to do in Bahama Island? Are you going to swim in a blue beach? Is that part of slippers decoration? Many people, what they call open doors, are distraction away from their destiny. When you don't have focus, you will definitely fail. It may not be now, but just give it time, you will fail. Did you not read about the apostles? In Acts chapter 6 from verse 4, it's not meet for us to give ourselves to tables. It said we'll give ourselves to prayer and to the ministry of the word. We know it's a legitimate thing to do to take care of widows, but that's not part of our curriculum. That it is necessary, that is important, does not mean it's your responsibility. It's not every important thing that is part of your responsibility. You must discern your calling, discern what God has called you to do, and stay there. You cannot be called into politics and then you come to church, you say you must be part of the intercessors. And these intercessors, they pray for 7 hours every day. How do you combine that? You say, no, we must change this world. We must change. You change the world from your throne. There are those God has called to change the world from the altar. Your zeal will kill you. Is praying good? Yes. But what you are called to do does not have enough allowance for you to be an intercessor or the head of the intercessors. So even positive things destroy people because they don't know these things. So they don't know what to focus on. How can a banker come and say she wants to be the church administrator and say, no, God, Jesus first, seek first the kingdom? Seek first the kingdom is not an activity in church. It's a heart posture. People have no focus. That's why there's no impact. There are certain ministries where they literally shut everybody down. On Monday, prayer is from 9 to 2. On Tuesday, prayer is from 9 to 2. On Wednesday, prayer is from 9 to 2. And they say, no, the world is in darkness. We need to fight in the spirit. That's why such ministries, only secondary school students can manage. Is prayer important? Yes. But we need to give allowance. Because people must focus on what they are called to do in order to be relevant. The law of focus. What focus will do for you is that focus will bring you into mastery. And only masters can rule their world. What you don't focus on, you can never master. That's why those who do too many things never succeed at anything. Focus. 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 Find out what God has told you to do. Stay there. Don't bother about the speed somebody else is enjoying. Stay there. And see what God makes out of your life. You will be shocked if you can stay. In the days of T.L. Osborne, there were 3 friends. Kenneth Hagin, T.L. Osborne, and Oral Roberts. T.L. Osborne was doing tent meetings. And healings were happening by the number. People traveled from nations to come for those tent meetings. Oral Roberts. Meanwhile, T.L. Osborne was traveling to every nation of the world. If T.L. Osborne lands, presidents receive him. His meetings were only in stadium. Stadiums were packed because T.L. Osborne was coming. Kenneth Hagin was in a tent, teaching and writing books. But these men were wise. Everybody stayed on their lane. If Kenneth Hagin said, it's those who are traveling from nation to nation that are succeeding, he would have finished in ministry. 20 years later, every known pastor have read at least one book of Kenneth Hagin. I can assure you that few men of our generation have heard one message of T.L. Osborne. But I can also tell you how that almost every pastor in this generation have been discipled by Kenneth Hagin. Because why God called T.L. Osborne to travel around, God was sending Kenneth Hagin into the future. He discerned it and he stayed there. Many people have been distracted from their calling because they have no focus. They are under pressure. God tells you to sell slippers. Your brother is selling tire and is making money. If you are sure this is what God says to do, master it. Master it. And from there you can upgrade to many other things. But you can never gain mastery until you have focus. And this is not against diversification. But any diversification that takes you away from the central calling is a distraction. You diversify by improving and increasing on the central core. You don't diversify by leaving the central core to start new things. Focus.